3.8. Caitlin?
Sorry, I'm still calculating.
Okay. Julie?
4.8.
4.8. Trent? 3.8? 4.8. Wow.
Yes.
Zare?
5.2.
5.2. Owen?
5.
All right. Julius?
4.8.
4.8. Hannah?
4.4.
4.4. Michelle? 5 point what? 2. Okay. Katie? 3.6. And Lucas, did you get one?
6.6.
6.6. Way over here. We'll make a special place for him. Okay. Who else did I not get? Ava? Oh, Caitlin? 4.6? Okay, 4.6. Anybody else? David, did you get a number?
Yeah, 4.6.
You got a 4.6 also. Okay. Now, looking at this, these are all average word lengths, right? So I should have labeled this axis. Average word length. Now, if you had to look at all of our averages and average our averages, what would you approximate that to be? You think maybe somewhere in here? Ish? Or here-ish? So we're going to approximate our average. We're going to use mu for average. We're going to approximate it around 4.8. Okay, no need to calculate it. We're just eyeballing it right now. Okay, we good? So now we're going to, that was not a random sample. We chose that sample ourselves, right? That's something we call a convenient sample because it's easy and fast, right? Now we're going to randomize this. Now when you randomize, the first thing you have to do is number the items you're choosing, which in this case is words, right? If you flip the lyrics over, maybe you have already, they're numbered for you. 1 to what? 297? So we're going to use a random generator to find that for us. So here's what it's going to look like. You're going to pull up on your phones. Give me a new page. You're going to put in random.org. And it's going to be this kind of thing. Go back. All right. This is what you're needing right here is this little purple box. All right. And then we're going to put in the maximum number of words on our list was, what, 297? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So 297. And I'm going to have it generate for me this. I'm just showing you word number 252. That is the first word I'm going to put in my sample. So I'm just going to write down my numbers. 252. All right. And then I'm going to do that 5 times. Get me 5 different words. My next word is 127. So you're going to do it 5 times. Don't repeat any words. And then you're going to use that label to identify the word in the song that correlates with. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
It's the same word, but like 2 different numbers.
That's fine. That's okay. So then you take that number, find the word, and write down how many letters are in that word. 270.
We just count the letters, right? Like if it has.
Yeah, you just count the letters. Don't count apostrophes or anything like that. All right. Y'all still looking? got an average for me? Yeah? You ready? So I can start collecting them? Are you still working?
The same.
Exactly the same? It can happen, right? It was random. Okay, so my average, is 3.8.
Yes.
It doesn't mean it's right. It's just what it is, okay? All right, John, what you got?
2.6.
Ooh, 2.6. Elijah?
4.2.
4.2. David, you got one? 5.4. Lucas? 3.8. Riley? 2.8. Olivia? 3.8. MJ? 2.4. Kinley, we all know what you have. 3.8. Sophia? 3.6. Ava? 3.6. Caitlin?
4.
Ooh, 4 even. Okay. Julie? 5. Trent? 3.8. Zahir? 3.4. Owen? 3. And last but not least, Julius? 3.4. All right. Notice our display is a little different than the first one, isn't it? Oh, did I miss you guys? I'm sorry. Hannah, what you got?
2.8.
Michelle? 3.4. And Katie?
3.6.
3.6. Excellent. Okay. Morning. Welcome. Happy birthday. Thank you.
Very mindful, very subtle, very neon.
All right. Notice the difference in our dot plots. Now that we've randomized, what do you see? Everything moved that way, didn't it? So our averages went down because we randomized. There's this thing about our eyeballs. When we randomly, or we didn't randomly, when we chose our own words at the beginning, our eyes tend to pick the longer words. Do you see that? So there's some bias built into that, and you didn't even know you had it, but your eyes do. So when we randomized, that went way down. Now, if I look at my new display, what would you estimate the average of these to be? Okay. 3.6 to 3.8, right? That's very different than the first one, isn't it? So then, we're answering number 6 as we talk about it. Which do you think is more accurate? The random one, yep, the random. Random one because why?
No bias.
There was no personal bias involved, right? No personal bias involved. Now, what do you really think the true mean word length is for Crazy in Love? For real, like if we really averaged all 297 words.
Probably in the high 3s.
High 3s?
High 3s and 4.
Okay, maybe 3.8 to 4. So let's think about this. It is known that Beyonce wrote lyrics for all of Destiny Child's songs. And we know her average word length is 3.64 words. So based on this, do we have good evidence that this sentence is weird? Do you have good evidence that Beyonce did not write this song? Can we prove that she didn't write it from this? No. Why?
Because it's about the same range.
We're in the ballpark, aren't we? We're in the ballpark. We can't prove she did, but we can't say she didn't either. Y'all with me? Welcome to the gray area of statistics. This is what we do. We can't prove it, but we can't disprove it either. So what we would say, since our averages, the average of our data is close to the known average of Beyonce, we cannot say she did not write the song. I know there's a lot of knots in that sentence. Just hang in there. We do lots of double negative things in here. All right, so we did a convenient sample with our eyeballs. We did a random sample. And there's a third one you need to know. I'll show you what that is on the next page. You ready? Okay, we're going to summarize what we did. Now, big picture here. When we collect data, we want to know something about the big population. Okay? If you surveyed every individual in the population, that's called a census, but it's nearly impossible to do. U.S. Census does not get responses from every person in the United States. Is that surprising to you? No, it's not. But a census isn't completely possible. So we have to take samples, and our goal is to take samples that correctly reflect the population as best as possible. All right? We want samples that look like the population with as little bias as possible. So we take simple random samples. That is the best one because you just saw what the randomization does to our data. Makes it a little more accurate. Now, bad sampling methods. There's the convenience one. These are easy to reach. This is when the researcher chooses the respondent. Like, goes out and chooses it. You see this if you ever go to the mall and there's people walking around with clipboards. Hey, can I ask you a question real quick? You seen that? You avoid them. You don't make eye contact because you don't want to talk to them. That's convenient. Not good data. The other one is what we call voluntary response. This is where the respondents choose to participate in the survey. So it goes backwards. This happens all the time. If you ever voted for American Idol, that's a voluntary response. So is the winner of American Idol truly chosen by all of America? No, only the people that watch the show that care. Same thing with political polls. Not going there, but I am saying only people who care enough to respond will respond, right? So voluntary response is not accurate or dependable either. So those are the three we need to know. Now, when you do a simple random sample like we just did, what are the things you have to do? And this is one of those things in this chapter you're going to have to list these steps. The first thing you have to do is label the individuals, usually with numbers. It's usually numbering like we did. We numbered the words from 1 to 297. Then we randomize. I'm going to show you different methods of randomization. What we just use is a random number generator. There is one in your calculator. It's not my favorite. Random.org makes it way better. All right? It's always available. Random number generator. Another thing you can use is a hat with papers. This is the old put all the numbers in a hat, shake them up, draw some numbers, and don't replace them method, okay? We'll do that throughout this chapter. And then you select the individuals you want to select, all right? Now, look at these applications here. You at your tables, I want you to attempt these. You're going to be identifying which kind of sample it's describing for now, all right? Try it out, and then we'll check your answers here in a minute. Learn how people in the community feel about the business. What kind of sample is that?
Voluntary response.
Good. Voluntary response because, why?
People that care will be counted.
People choose themselves to be a part of that survey, right?
Like
All right.
American Idol.
Like American Idol, yep. Why is it biased? Because only people who care participate. So the manager finds that 92% of the customers rate the business with 5 stars. Huh, shocking. Is that 92% likely to be greater than or less than what the real truth would be? Because why?
There is small amount of the population is actually like condemning.
They're kind of being bribed a little, aren't they?
Yeah, I said it was less than 2% and incentive.
Less than what? I didn't hear you.
I said it was probably less than because there was an incentive, so people are more likely to but they're more positive.
So how would that make the 92% less than the truth?
I thought it was saying like truly believe.
Oh, no, it's asking if he uses this 92% to say people like 92% of people like me, is he exaggerating the truth or is he Or is the truth really higher than that?
Yeah, I said he was exaggerating because the people in the community
Oh,
aren't
I
gonna
got you.
give
Got
their
you.
advice.
I missed that part of your sentence. Okay. Yes, it's likely higher. Because people are being bribed. No good there. Number 2, to reduce the bias, the manager decides to survey the next 10 customers that makes a purchase. Poor manager. What kind of sample is that? That's convenient. Yeah, it's a convenient sample. And I can spell. Why is that a problem?
Well, he's also reaching out.
Definitely not random. He's reaching out.
And they're already supporting the business, so they're gonna be supporting it.
They're already in there buying something, right? So they already kind of like the store. So he's kind of already skewing the data, isn't he? Why is it biased? People he chooses already in the store purchasing. So they must like it, right? And then how could the manager avoid the bias? What could he do to make this right? Because obviously his methods are bad news bears, right? How could he really randomize this survey?
They'll go to like a random place and just pick out random people.
But if he's picking them out, isn't that convenient?
Or like you can make a sign in public and just have people come up.
That would be voluntary, right? They choose themselves.
Hire a food reviewer who's never tried the place.
Hire but that's just one person's opinion.
That is for all.
They're being paid, so.
And they're being bribed, right? So here's what you would, this is not realistic, okay? I get that. It's not going to happen. But what would he have to do? He would somehow randomize people not in the store, because he wants to know people about the community, right? Somehow randomize people in the community and get their response. Taking out his bias, taking out the customer's bias helps reduce the bias. Now here's the caveat. You can never completely reduce bias. It can't be eliminated. It's always built in somewhere. We work to reduce that so that our sample reflects the population. Now,